Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook, sitting next to the man, Tyler Merkovich, who's also the fantasy football guru here at Football Game Plan. He's going through his top 10 tight end, or his top tight ends, values, sleepers, busts. So let's just go right into this. We're going to start with values. I'm voting for Alfred Papuno, pop top drinking, but value picks, guys that you can get later rounds that have tremendous upside, tremendous production at their position.
Well, usually when I'm drafting, I usually like to take one tight end, maybe a backup if I'm not sure about my first one. But I like, again, quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers mainly as my backups. Tight end, kicker, and defense, maybe one, possibly two tight ends. But let's start out with some value, of course. And I named him as my 10th in my top 10. That's Heath Miller. He's being taken in the early 14th round. So if I was drafting, I would just wait for Heath Miller, wait, and I would take him. I wouldn't wait that long till the 14th because you can't do that. You've got to reach a little bit, so I'd probably take him the 12th round, but he's being taken 14th round, so there's a steal right there. Shanko, I mean, 15 to 20% of the time it's a reception, it's a touchdown. And Favre, we don't know about Harvin's health concerns, so Shanko I think could have a big year again. Kellen Winslow going mid-9 to late 9. There's another guy who's going to put up the yards no matter what team he's on, no matter how poor the offense is. And then Chris Cooley, he's coming back from injury. Of course, Fred Davis had a big year, but Shanahan will use this guy H-back. He's very versatile, mid-10th round pick. Cooley has Donovan McNabb now, so he could be a value also.
Yeah, especially coming out that football powerhouse, Utah State. Sleeper picks, who you have tight end sleeper?
Well, we talked about the most consistent professional in the Oakland Raiders organization, Zach Miller. You get him mid-12th round. I mean, he still had a decent year, Jamarcus Russell. Now Jason Campbell, you know how he utilized Cooley and Fred Davis. Zach Miller can be a big sleeper for some teams, for some managers in Oakland.
Yeah, I like Zach Miller a lot.
John Carlson, big year last year. I believe he had 8 touchdowns. Hasselbeck is back. He's going to want to prove it. You can take him late 12th rounds. And another guy in the same year was Carlson was drafted. It's Dustin Keller. He could be taken mid 13th round to late 13th round. This guy is just ever evolving as a tight end. I see the progression that he's making. He's moving towards an elite tight end status. Mark Sanchez should find him a lot this year.
Yeah, him and Sanchez should be like, you know, like Steve Young and Brent Jones were back in the day, or even Montana and Brent Jones were back in the day, because that's how important a tight end is to a young quarterback. He's going to look for him first because that's usually right there in front of your face. So that's important. Now, the tight end bust. Who are some tight ends to stay away from in this draft?
Well, I only have 3. Is that okay with you, Chief?
That is so fine.
I have 3. Start out with Jeremy Shockey. 569 yards, only 3 touchdowns last year. It seemed like, wow, he would have been really hot to trade last year because, oh my gosh, the Saints offense first couple of weeks, Shockey's going to be producing, but those numbers really didn't add up. They draft Jimmy Graham. They're really going to rely on receivers. I'm not sure Shockey is worth that real early tight end pick. Todd Heap, 593 yards, 6 touchdowns. That's actually the most in the last 3 years for him, so kind of a resurrection. But you do not draft Ed Dixon and Dennis Pitta for nothing. You add Anquan Boldin and Stallworth. I thought Heap was on the tail end of his career last year. He can still have some touchdowns this year, but I don't think he's worth a roster spot this year on your fantasy team. And Greg Olsen, 612 yards last year, 8 touchdowns. Everyone expected this guy to really break out, but the Mike Martz system. Do you remember a tight end really having success? Remember when he was in San Fran, Vernon Davis was still a no-show, not utilizing his skills. And remember the tight end in St. Louis? You don't even know who it was because they're throwing so much to the wide receivers. I'm not sure he'll utilize him too much. So Olsen, stay away.
Now you 3 interesting guys on your bust list. Shockey looks like a guy that would be a great drinking buddy. If you're ever going out, you need a guy to go drink with you. Look like Shockey be the one. Cool. You mentioned Olsen. Olsen looks like the guy Stifler from American Pie. I always like Olsen. A lot of OP get the football a lot in Chicago. And I mean, you look at these guys, all these busts on the list, as far as like tight ends in fantasy, not bust as in can't play. All guys are really, really talented, but you just have to understand you put him on the list. He's hurt right now for you saying that, so he's always injured. But these guys are all talented. If health is concerned, if they can stay healthy, these are all talented tight ends. But Good list though. I like doing these values, sleepers, and busts from the fantasy perspective because it gives you a different look on how fantasy football players look at these.
Oh yeah, way different. It's way different. Don't get sucked in. I remember years ago. Oh, Michael Vick. He was a very sexy pick for a regular quarterback to win games. But from the fantasy standpoint, he was nothing. He was a bust.
Right.
He was not the guy to put up the numbers. So sometimes, no matter what the name is, if the last name is Guacamole, he still might be
good
best
in
choice
fantasy
to start.
If you find somebody named Guacamole, you have to select him. For more fantasy football league coverage, visit footballgameplan.com/fantasy, or to view more of Tyler's fantasy football videos, visit youtube.com/footballgameplan.